So I had to tell Kurt what a thing was, what a thing is. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give the pat answer that there is no time, that time is an illusion. So time is the separation between two events. And if there aren't any thoughts separating these events, then it's all just one event, right? So basically, again, it's just the one-step path reveals all this. When there's no thoughts, there's no time. It's that easy. It's that simple. When there's no thoughts going around in your head, separating an I that's doing separate things from everything else, when there's no words describing that, there's no separate experiences, right? It's all just one experience. And that is the life of your name here is all one experience. So that if you don't have any thoughts in your head, there is no time. It's also very, very, very simple. The voice in the head, everything it says is delusion and illusion. It's that simple. So to transcend the illusion of time and transcend the illusion of a separately existing I, you just have to transcend thought. Oh, well, you mean no experience. Right. So, yeah, experience and time go hand in hand. Right. So, yes, the reality, there's no experience. The reality is the experiencer. And the experiencer does not require an experience. As we can see that in dreamless sleep, right? The experiencer doesn't require experience. when when awareness just is, it's not even aware of, it's everything is resolved as in the practice. Everything is resolved. You're just sitting there. The state where no question arises, that's it. So watch your question arise and then watch it go away. And if you don't ask that question, then that question never got any power on you, right? The illusion that question is trying to fix doesn't arise, right? So every time you ask a question, it's trying to resolve the illusion that the thought produced. So this is it. This is all existing prior to all that system, right? That you can't dispel an illusion using the same thoughts that produced the illusion, right? So it's all just the practice. And all these questions are the mind unraveling, the self letting go of the mind. It's like we're so attached to the thoughts is that we have to let them go 10 million times maybe before it finally just sets in that this is preferred. Satchidananda is preferred to thinking and manufactured experiences. It's funny because we attribute, let's say there's a question asked by the voice in the head, and then the voice in the head offers an answer to that question. And then if the self, and then the stillness, the silence that's after that answer is attributed to the answer is the cause of the stillness, but it isn't. It's just the stillness. The stillness was there. The stillness that was experienced after acceptance of the answer is there all the time, right? You just went through a process and then you just ended up where you started. That's what happens, is that thought comes up and then you rest, you do your things with the thought, it's right or it's wrong or whatever. And then you just go back to the state that existed prior to the whole thing even arising. It all just comes back to the stillness, right? Everything arises and passes, all in front of you all the time, but no one ever pays attention to that which it is arising from and passing to. We all just pay attention to that which is arising and passing, and we never pay any attention to the background upon which all of this is occurring. So that's what this is. The one-step path is just focusing, changing your focus from away from what's happening to what it's happening upon. Yeah, so it's not, what's occurring is not the second coming of Christ. It's a second Christ. It's not Jesus Christ, it's some other Christ. Put someone else's name in front of Christ, and that's the second coming of Christ. It's not the same guy, right? Because Christ It's like saying that Ramana Maharshi would come back. It's like, no, they're enlightened. It's done. He's done. Jesus is no longer. So the second coming of Christ should be said that it's not Jesus. It's, yes, Christ consciousness is becoming manifest again, but it's not going to be what people think Jesus is. He's not going to come down from the sky and start walking around, right? That's all metaphor. Right. So Jesus was the physical manifestation of the positive, the physical part of the triune system. Yes. It's the physical manifestation of God. He realized that he was the divine. Yes. Yeah. Cool. So that Christ consciousness is the heart of all of us, right? I could say that it's the same thing as Satchitananda. Basically, Christ consciousness is Satchitananda, just the being, before all those thoughts about Christianity and Christ comes in. You as well.
It's all the same game. That's what you used. That's where you used to be. See, in your world, there's only one consciousness. That's you. There's always, there's just you in your world. Everything that you see, I believe, everything that we see, see, when we look out into space, all we see are dots. So there's not a lot of information about out there. So I believe that that is basically where we're going. We're going expanding in size as well as awareness. But everything that's in your world is basically you, but you're separated in time. This is the more fundamental level of time, is that everything that you experience is you in the past, except, I believe, those little white dots that we see at night. I don't know if that's your past. So in a way, in a way, when one realizes their enlightenment, you liberate all beings in your world. You see how important it is when you are liberated. All beings in your world are liberated because you're the only being in your world.
This is kind of just like opening the aperture all the way, I guess. It's like you're not focusing, narrowing the focus at all. You're not adjusting focus. Because symbol and language and the screen, you notice how everything is moving towards narrowing the focus and controlling the focus. So when you're reading, right, your focus, it's forcing you are letting your awareness, your focus be like laser focused to a point, and then that point just goes back and forth when you're reading, right? So it's programming. That is programming. You're consciously, you're intentionally shifting your awareness from being aware of the senses to just the visual sense and the right. So when you're reading, it's the visual sense and thought. That's all, right? You don't really pay attention to any of the other senses. It's just visual and fake auditory, because it's learned to mimic the live auditory way of communication in the physical realm. Like birds chirp live, and they operate live. And then anything recorded is just this redundant programming over and over and over. So we're going from just an expansion, which is basically the wave function is just everything happening at once. You're not, the wave function doesn't collapse, a word doesn't arise in consciousness, in awareness that projects the illusion of independently existing objects. So we're basically, I think what we're learning to do is just abide in the wave function without anything collapsing into the appearance of separately existing objects. And that occurs when there's a word pops in, and that projects the illusion that there's a separately existing object. Yeah, and then from that point, a grid can be made. See, like they're always trying to derive one from two, right? They think that a point is the intersection of a graph, the intersection of two different things. But the two different things come out of the point. You see what they're doing is they've got things inverted. They start with two, which is space-time. They call it space-time to try to pretend that it's one, but it's a grid, right? Everyone's seen the explanation, the diagram that's trying to express gravity, and it's a freaking two-dimensional grid, right? Space-time. They try to derive one from two. That's what science does, because science operates on measurement, and measurement requires two. So that's all science can do is project duality. And then they try to derive unity from starting with the duality, right? So they derive a point. A point is the intersection of two lines, I guess. So no, actually, that the two lines come from the point. But they always start from an inverted perspective. They don't realize that they're describing the illusion. Physics describes half of the illusion. And they think that they're describing all of reality. That's the hilarious part of it, is that physicists believe they're describing the totality of the reality, and in actuality, they're describing half of the illusion. So well done. And then they just keep thinking that eventually, by if you describe half of the illusion as good, as close as you possibly can, somehow that's going to reveal all the reality. Hasn't so far, has it? The scientific process concluded with quantum mechanics. That was it. Quantum mechanics concluded all of physics. But physicists know they exist while they're thinking, so they just keep going on blindly, not recognize, not properly. And this is what Federico keeps saying, is that Federico Fajin, what does it mean? Right? What does it mean? It requires interpretation, right? People are still trying to interpret what quantum mechanics is saying, right? What it's actually. And I believe it's expressing an actual experience. But the thing is that physicists don't know of this experience that I'm relating right now, just sitting in the stillness, right? They don't know it. They haven't had the experience. And this is another thing that Federico, I'm completely on board with. He's the genius that's going to do all this. Like, he's the one, I'm sure. Because he recognizes that you need the experience. It's a catch-22 for these people, physicists, because they haven't had the experience of this, of Satchitananda, of the stillness. And until they do, they won't, their understanding of reality will always only be just the illusion. So, and then if they don't engage in the practice because it's too difficult, well, then they'll never get it, right? And then we just end up with 220 freaking theories where everyone's wrong. So this place here, Moksha, well, we're going to call it Moksha Farms. But this is going to be one of those places where people will come to have an awakening experience, right? I'm going to have a 1 week, really intensive ego cleanse. I think that's what I'll call it, an ego cleanse, because it's rough, right? Like, it's rehab, ego rehab, maybe I could call it, because rehab is tough, right? It's not easy going through rehab. And that's what this place is going to be once we get it all tweaked up. It's going to be a place, hopefully, where people can come one at a time and have this experience, awakening experience, so they can understand the theory. Like, in order to be able to understand what the hell I'm talking about, you need to have the experience, possibly, to fully grasp what I'm relating. So hopefully Federico's foundation is going to provide funding for this, because I have a float tank, and there's been over 80 scientific university studies involving float tanks, right? Like with how it affects basically all of the mind body connection. It helps with everything. Like everything that you want to improve, if you float, it will improve it. So the float tank is one of these tools that Federico is talking about, a technology, very basic technology, that is the new investigation, the new inquiry is measuring the observer, or just observing the observer. It's not measurement anymore at all. It's we have to let go of materialism and just let them go on their way, because they're just holding down the evolution of humanity. So the new inquiry is inquiry into the observer. This is obvious. We need to observe the observer. It's all observation. We don't even need to put it into words. It's just everyone's interior investigation of the self and the thought action process. You witness the thought action process from outside of it. That's how you understand yourself and all the crazy shit that you do and all the suffering that you experience. It's all tied to that thought action process. And if you're just going blindly along like everyone else, basically just like Pavlov's dog, basically, I call it analog and digital. Basically, the realm of the senses, to me, is the analog realm. And it's waves. Again, analog is more associated with the waves. So again, it seems like the wave function perhaps is expressing something more fundamental, like Federico keeps saying, that the wave function, I believe, is expressing the state of consciousness that is free from words. And the collapse of the wave function is metaphor or an expression of how the superimposition of a word over top of specific senses, right, produce the illusion that they're separately existing objects. Like, this is it, guys. Like, it's that obvious. It's that in our freaking face. It's just that we can't seem to separate the words from the sensations. They're all mixed in, they're all jumbled in because of neuroscience. Thank you very much. And because of the Kobayashi Maru situation, where there's just things or nothings. There's just either there's what physics says there is, or it doesn't exist. This is a fucked up situation, right? So it's this Kobayashi Maru situation where if it's not a thing that can be described by physics and even words, then it's just so messed up. I see it so clearly how it's so messed up. But it's like so the conventional situation of human consciousness that has words and thoughts and the voice in the head so intermingled with sensations is that the unraveling of it is exactly like Christmas lights. Have you ever just had a big ball of Christmas lights and you're trying to unravel it and right? It's just all jumbled together. That's what I'm doing, right? So that's why it looks like the unraveling of all this mess. So if you're rewinding a really slow train wreck, it looks like I'm a fucking crazy person sometimes, because sometimes my mind, I see everything at once, right? So everything comes at once. I see everything at once, and then I'm trying to express like, this is why I do the things that I do when I'm making these videos, and it looks like I'm fucking stupid or I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm trying to unravel these Christmas tree lights. And it's a mess, right? Like, we just assume that the mess is correct, but it's not. And then it looks like my theory is complicated, but it isn't. My theory is the simplicity, and it's trying to figure out, it's trying to unravel the Christmas tree lights, which is all of human experience, basically. Of course, I'm not normal. I'm natural. I'm not normal. I'm natural. Yes. Well done. Math is great. And the greater than doesn't mean that it weighs more, or that it's bigger or flashier. It just means that it's more substantial, right? Greater than equals more substantial. Right. Yep. More unified. Yeah. More comprehensive. Absolutely comprehensive. I've been alone here for 3 years. 3 years. I've been alone here. Paige comes to visit a week or two at a time every year. Yeah, so her daughter just finished high school, so that's why Paige remained back in Saskatoon, and I moved here because the timing was perfect to purchase this place. We had to do it then, or it would have never happened because crypto is. So our investment went from we bought a lot of ADA, the coin for Cardano blockchain, at like 3 cents. And then we sold a whole bunch of it at $2.47. Yeah. Yeah. So our predictive powers together, Paige and I, were pretty good. We just pushed it all in on this intuition, and I was able to retire at 52 and buy this $1 million property and blah, blah, blah. So here's the update. Here's what's going on is in 2 weeks, she'll be here. Her daughter has graduated from high school and she's going to university now. So it's time to leave the nest, and Paige is going to be here now forever. So now we can really this place will really start flourishing now, because Paige and I are basically the perfect expression of the yin yang dancing with the universe, because shit seems to go our way. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. So the farm will get going, and the spiritual retreat center hopefully will all get going in 2025. 2025 is a huge year. Right? 2025 is when we're going to start taking applications in a way for people to be a part of this community. So I think August of next year, perhaps we'll have a little get together with half a dozen people or something like that. See how we get along together. This is our true nature, like just absolute bliss and contentment, nowhere to go, just perfect contentment. And I'm offering this to people. Like, you just need to shift your awareness, your attention away from everything that humanity has created. That's all. That's all you have to do to realize that this is here all the time. This is your true nature. And it's just Maya that's drawing your attention away from this into the unsubstantial realm that's causing all of the suffering. There's one problem, one solution. It's the simplest thing. Yeah, John Vervaeke has a new series or something going on, right? So you getting people to sign up for it, and then he's gonna talk and 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 talk for hours. And then at the end of that program, everyone will be exactly where they started. Everyone will be in the exact same level of self-awareness as when they started. So that will all be entertaining and interesting while they're doing it. And then when it's done, you're just left in the same condition as you were when you started it, looking for another thing to be interested in. But John doesn't want to hear this. John really thinks that he's doing a good work. He doesn't realize that he's trapped in his own meaning crisis. He doesn't see it. It's because I don't think John has had this awakening. I don't think John has had an awakening experience. Mr. Vervaeke, you need to just do the meditation part. That's it. He dabbles in meditation. He just 2% of what his teaching is meditation, and it's guided, and it's just touching the surface of where he needs to go. And because he doesn't follow that, he gets trapped into Maya and the blah blah blah. So in his ignorance, he's just leading people down more samsara. He's just creating and propagating more samsara, but he doesn't recognize it. Yeah, and it's expensive, right? Of course it is, because it's John Vervaeke. I would destroy these guys in a discussion. I would rip them apart, but they wouldn't even realize it. I'm quite certain that I would rip them apart in any debate, any of them. But yet they wouldn't recognize it, because they would be like the Black Knight in Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail. I would hack off all their limbs in the debate, and they think that they're probably still winning, right? Yeah, you're taught something. You're not shown something. So if you're taught something and you have to learn it, then it's obviously manufactured by human consciousness and is just more samsara. Truth is basically self-evident. So you just need to you need to transcend that which is false to reveal the truth that is sitting right in front of your face the whole time. So truth reveals something, delusion teaches. Truth reveals, delusion learns or teaches. John is not familiar with this stillness at this level. So he uses thought as a relative form of existence because he knows he exists while he's thinking. That's it. It's that simple. If he had a deep experience and understanding of this, of the self that is just the beingness without any thoughts and sensations, it's just, if he had this deep experience of this, then he wouldn't require to be thinking all the time. It's this simple. But he's too academic. He's been programmed too deeply by academia. So that's his MO. He just talks and thinks and talks and thinks and thinks and talks without getting anywhere. See, if symbol and language is the falsity, is that's what's causing the illusion and delusion and suffering, then again, it's obvious that my two messages that have been developed by the Creator is the only way to get out of this, right? It's using symbol and language to try to break people out of the spell that symbol and language has cast upon us. And all these other people aren't. They're using that which is causing the illusion on the nose. This is a screenwriting phrase, on the nose, right? So everything is exactly as it seems. They're trying to use that which produces the illusion to try to get past the illusion. And it doesn't work, right? That's why they just keep using symbol and language for 50 hours. His first chorus was 50 hours, and now he has another chorus, right? And people think that he's getting somewhere, right? Like, this is, everything's inverted. We have everything inverted. So $500 fucking dollars. I would actually listen. I'm sorry. I would like to get John Vervaeke in a boxing ring. I would like to get him in a boxing ring. Because nothing I say gets through to him, so maybe that would, right? It's just like all these guys having this intellectual circle jerk while we're going to hell. They can't recognize that they are the ones that are leading us hand by hand, like the Pied Piper, through the fucking gates of hell, skipping along the way, thinking that they're leading us somewhere to truth or reality. I challenge you, John Vervaeke, to a boxing match. Well, or a debate, or both. But you're a chicken shit, so you won't. Why not? What? Let's make it a real spectacle. Let's get Bernard Kastrup in there too. I'll take both of them on at the same time in the boxing ring. They were probably never spanked as children. I was spanked. It looks like Vervacke's lost a lot of weight. Yeah. There she is. I was bragging about you and us and Moksha Farms page, how 2025 is going to be the breakout year. So that's another, the secret, right? Is the secret is in the is power, not willpower. So again, the voice in the head is not in control of anything. So if you make a plan, oh, we're going to do this, and then we go forward and try to do that. That's kind of trying to lead the universe in this dance, right? So true power is power, not willpower, because will is always in the future. So that's why there's a will not. Anyway, yeah, it's just abidance in the stillness. That's the natural evolution of your life unfold without the ego getting in the way and the I wanting to do stuff. Is power, not willpower. There's no power in will. All the power is in is. The only difference between guys like Vervaeke and like televangelists is that he's just operating in ignorance. Like the televangelists know they're trying to deceive, which is evil, but he's just operating out of ignorance. So I don't think he's intentionally trying to screw people out of money. And I think that he's actually trying. Like he really, this is the difference, is that I believe he actually doesn't know what he's doing. And he's actually trying to help from his perspective, he is. But he isn't. From my perspective, he isn't. So he doesn't want to know, he doesn't want to experience my perspective. He just wants his. So he's just operating out of ignorance and he doesn't understand what he's doing. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do, type of a situation. So at least I believe he's probably not doing any harm or any good. He's just maintaining neutral status in the evolution. He's just stationary. He's treading water, basically. Just providing entertainment, unsubstantial entertainment. That's what he's providing. I should start doing that. I've never done that hashtag thing. never done it ever. I don't think ever. But it's interesting because I just titled my one video that I entitled Bernardo Kastrup is a Coward, well, that's got over like 1,100 views, right? So the algorithm is picking up on Bernardo Kastrup. So maybe I should throw in some John Vervaeke stuff, because this one went to Vervaeke for some reason. But they're all in the same state, right? They're all in the same programmed, deluded state where they don't understand the true source of the problem. The true source of the meaning crisis is words itself, is the entire language. Language itself is incorrect. Like he doesn't. So you have to transcend all symbol. Yeah, he's a Canadian, I believe. Yeah, so I'm offering the actual true conclusion and the actual truth for free. And it says that there's two people here. For free, every Sunday, I'm expressing the truth for free every Sunday. And Vervaeke is going to get probably hundreds of people doing his new program, because the original 50 episode program didn't conclude it, right? He didn't get to an answer with 50 episodes. So now he's got another one, another program that those people will take as well, right? The people that took the first program, probably 80% of them will take the second one as well, thinking that they're getting somewhere, thinking that they're making some sort of progress. But again, there's no value to what I'm showing exactly because it's free, right? Again, more of the programming. Ramana Maharshi, when he ran away from home, he actually took some money and told a white lie. And then when he got to where he was going, when he got to Arunachala, he threw the rest of his remaining money in a well and never touched money again. And the entire ashram was built around him. It all started from him sitting on a slab of concrete. That's it. There's no money involved in any of this. So again, this is why I would like to get Vervaeke in a boxing ring, because he needs to get the shit kicked out of him. I think he needs to get the shit kicked out of him. Maybe that will help him realize the state that he's in, because talking to him doesn't work. So maybe a couple of those would. And I know, I'm such a bad person for talking about physical violence. But these people are propagating samsara in their ignorance. In the description of this, I will put, in this satsang, I challenge John Vervaeke to a boxing match. Let's see, that'll probably get the most hits of everything. Of most views of any of my videos is the one where I could even timestamp it, where I challenge John Vervaeke to a boxing match. Oh, Paige. It would never happen. It's ridiculous. Not if we agreed to it. I'm not going to run up to John Vervaeke and punch him in the face. It would be an agreed upon. All right, well, let's do this thing. He won't debate me. We had a discussion once on Twitter when it was back in Twitter. We had a back and forth of like 3 times, and then he just stopped. Right? He just shut down and just never heard from him again. No, your English is quite good. No one's gotten back to me on that one either, of course. If it doesn't come from academia, academia doesn't recognize it. It's that simple. It's almost like as black and white as the thing nothing, right? If it doesn't come from academia, it just doesn't fucking exist. It can't make any sense, right? Because we're just ignorant. And that very paradox shows that the ignorance is the words, the language and the knowing. That's the falsity. That's the beauty of the paradox, is that the way that language is set up allows for that sentence, that statement to be semantically correct, right? So if it's saying something, if it's semantically correct, then you would think that it is expressing some sort of experience that can be experienced, some sort of an experience. It's not just gobbledygook. It has really powerful meaning. So, of course, they don't want to know that meaning because it shows that everything that they think is false, right? So, of course, they're just going to ignore it, or that it means nothing, right? I have destroyed Maya. I've destroyed Maya, and that is especially math. I've revealed the incorrectness of quantity itself. The entire idea of quantity is that which connects, artificially connects the information expressed in the number system to mean, to relate to our experience in that manner. But it's wrong. It's wrong. It's so wrong that the result of following it is the death of all biological life on the planet. But they don't want to see that either, or admit that that's happening either. I kind of want to just get humanity in the boxing ring. Like, can I get all of academia in the boxing ring? My theory is killing Maya with 100 cuts. No, 1,000 by 1,000 cuts, right? Death by 1,000 cuts of Occam's razor. That's how I'm killing Maya and Satan, is by 1,000 cuts of Occam's razor. And the whole system doesn't realize that I've actually made the first couple of incisions and they're bleeding out. Like it's working. There's only been a couple of little incisions and they're bleeding a little bit. Like, because it's in my consciousness and your consciousness and a few others' consciousnesses, it's in there. It's in, right? It is in the collective human consciousness, right? This meme or this whatever, this antivirus program, and it's working. It's just going to take maybe a while, but it's working at the deepest level of the collective human consciousness, because I'm holding on to it. We are holding on to it. it's already destroying. I've destroyed math, and by extension, I've destroyed science. It just, like, this is nothing about me, but true genius is almost impossible to recognize. It seems to take a long time for genius to be recognized as such. Yeah, people be sheeple, that's for sure. There he is. Somehow I knew you'd be showing up. This is what's so cool about my life, is that I thought earlier, well, I haven't seen Rusty in a while. Be cool if he showed up. Bam, there's Rusty. Awesome. Are you, wow. You're a cool dude, Rusty. You should come try out this lake. Cool. Yep. Paige and I will discuss it. Yeah, that would be amazing. If you had your own trailer, then yeah, I mean, you could almost stay here for a longer time and not get in our no. Yeah, it'd be great, I think. If shoot, right now we're a little low on funds. Otherwise, it would be a great opportunity for you to do some handiwork around here too, if you were here for a week or so, because I can't do shit. It's not my skill, not in my skill set. Anything handy at all, mechanically inclined. I mean, Paige, if he could get the zero turns running, maybe we could even sell them. I've got two mowers, zero turn mowers. That's probably worth $5,000 if we get them operating. Awesome. And we've got this we've got this big 1-ton diesel that isn't running worth a shit either. So yeah, man, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that it's true, right? Like when you learn to dance, when you learn to dance with the universe, following, not trying to lead, it's a beautiful dance, right? It's just gorgeous to watch. It just flows and you're just following the lead. No, it's the synchronicities are amazing, right? Like there is a higher level of order going on than anything that can be communicated in this way, right? It's this, the communication is more vertical than it is horizontal, if you know what I mean, right? Like this whole wave function thing, if we're all in that same state of being free of words, which is basically still all abiding in that unified field of clear mind, right? So that's what I think the wave function, without any collapse of it, is expressing this state of just observation free from bias. Yeah, it's fascinating, right? And again, this is the is power. This is what I'm talking about, is that statement that it seems to be nonsensical. You can have all of the power but none of the control. Right? So this is it. All of the power is in is. It's is power. And you just witness it. And then when something really cool happens and you just go, wow, like Paige and I discovering this place. That was synchronicity beyond anything that I can explain. How we came to this place. Yeah. So it's fascinating, right? It's far more interesting. These little surprises that are like, wow, right? It's far more interesting than making a 5-year plan and then checking things off. It didn't happen or it happened. Like, there's no surprise there. It's less interesting, I find. Yeah, like stuff like that happens, right? It's just, it seems like there's resiliency there. It's not rigid, right? There's flow, and everything seems to work out when you're just abiding in this unified state that's free of words. Free because the words project an individual, separately existing entity that isn't unified with the rest of it, right? It's doing its own thing, okay? Like ramming up against the universe, trying to change the universe. It's ridiculous. I mean, shit, Paige, maybe he could even frame a room for your treatments, a treatment room. Paige is going to be here in 2 weeks, and she's going to start her massage business here. But we, believe it or not, we don't really have a good room for it. Yeah, it'll all work out just like we know it will. Paige will be here forever now, moving here after 3 years of me being alone. Yes, in 2 weeks, she will be here living at her home in Moksha with me. And then watch, just freaking watch when the two of us are together, the mojo happen. Oh, it will probably be the greatest day of my life when we finally pull up and she gets out, and I don't take her back to Saskatoon this time, or to the airport. She stays. That will be probably the best feeling that I've ever had in my life, I'm guessing. Because 3 years is quite a long time to be apart, right? And to see the potential in this place manifest will be magical. This place is magical. Hmm. Paige, can you imagine if we could sell those zero turns? Well, I like not having to sell any ADA too, right? We'll see. Do we? Yeah. We're a little heavy on mowers, though, aren't we? We got a lot of mowers. We would definitely take care of your food. Get your partner to buy out your half, and then you can have your own. You can, just an idea. Okay. This might be one of those fantastic synchronicities, is that you are kind of sort of homeless or maybe looking for a permanent dwelling. I'm not sure, but you're completely aligned with all this non-conceptuality thing. And we certainly need a handyman around here. So we'll see what happens. But this is really exciting. Really exciting. Me too. It's, I've just been sitting here. Well, again, I can't explain to you how magical this place is, because my creativity, like in the 3 years that I've been here, all of this has been revealed. Like really, it's very, very slow. And then when I got here, just everything just exploded, right? Like everything was revealed to me. And I think it has a lot to do with me being here alone. Like it was necessary, I believe, for me to be here alone for those 3 years, to have nothing else to do except keep the cats alive and the place going, and work on this, like have this revealed to me. I think this is all part of the big plan, right? So I believe that other people, when they come here, their creativity will also expand, and their understanding and all that, because this is a magical place. Yeah, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. If you would have seen me 20 years ago, fuck, what a fucking mess. It's the practice. It's all, I give all the credit to Ramana Maharshi. Maybe we should move that pool table. Maybe I could try to sell it. A pool table downstairs, hey? Wow. And you're a fisherman like Rusty. Rusty might be an integral part of Moksha Farms. And I'm a very good assistant because I can hold heavy objects, right? So I can fetch things for you and hold things for you. Oh, if you come up during the fall, well, where you are is gorgeous too. So it's not like I'm showing you anything new. That's, oh, it's gorgeous here. It's like, yeah, it's gorgeous where you are too, I'm sure. I'm glad. See, another reason why I think my life has turned out the way it has is because there's been positive karma generated through my previous website and my previous book. Like this, what's I'm sharing with people, I believe, is generating positive karma in the background, unbeknownst to me, right? I don't know what's going on with people, but I think it's actually at a very fundamental level, it's helping people's lives at the level that it sticks, that means something. So I think it's just income, right? It's just like passive income. That's what it is. It's passive karmic income. That's what this whole, even though it seems as though it's been mostly ignored for a long time, the people that it has affected, I believe that's paying. This is paying me back for this positive karma. That's what I think is going on here, because I haven't really planned. I've just flailed around. just hold to the practice, and this happened. Again, it's the synchronicity of all of it. Passive, positive, karmic income. And that's the experiment for Moksha Farms, is that when the internet shuts down and when our collective consciousness here will separate this world from consensus world. That's what I really believe, is that in a quantum way, this realm that we will experience through our senses, not through the screen, but just our immediate senses, this will be a separate realm from consensus realm. This is what quantum mechanics is saying, is that my world is my world and your world is your world. And if we all have like-minded people on the same frequency, our world will not be consensus world. Sounds nuts, but there isn't a singular objective world. There's consensus world, and then there's your world. There's an individual world. Yeah, NPC. That's a crazy concept, right? The Terry Fox run takes place, I think, every year in the same location. So there's going to be like 200 people running by my place, and there's a sign that says future home of Moksha Farms, and I donated some food, so it's free advertising today. Oh, it's going to be the way things are lining up is that the government, so because of the thing nothing model, which is adversarial, right? So it's a system where half of the system is trying to destroy the other half. How can a system that requires the annihilation of the other half of the system, how does that system abide? So that thing nothing model is what everything is based on, right? Everything in Western society especially is based on competition. So basically what what the governmental system has boiled down to is just each side wants to beat the other side. Each side just wants to stay in power. That's it. There's no functioning of the government anymore to do what it was planned to do, because at the heart of it, its modus operandi was conflict with itself, right? The Democrats just want to beat the Republicans. That's it. They don't give a fuck about anything else, about people's welfare or running like truth or anything. It's everything's collapsing down to this fundamental modus operandi of trying to beat the other half of the system. So what they're doing is allowing, because every one of these elections is so close, is that this is their plan, is that they're just allowing a bunch of immigrants in and giving them a bunch of money because they believe in MMT, because they're academics and they're delusional, right? They've lost contact with physical realm. So they just print money and they allow these immigrants in and they give them whatever they need just because it's money, right? They just print it. That doesn't mean anything. So they can just print the money, let in these millions of immigrants so that they can, and then they fast track new laws so that they can vote immediately because they're in control of the laws. So eventually what they're setting up is to, in order to be in control, the Democrats it's all lining up because the Democrats, their strings are being pulled by Maya. So all Maya wants is for all of humanity to be staring at the screen. That's basically it. That's the plan, is for all of humanity is to get their focus away from the physical realm of the senses and onto the fucking screen. So that's what's happening. None of these illegal aliens, these migrants that are just being let in, have a job. They won't get a job. They're just going to be on social programs with this magical printed money, just looking at the screen and getting their allowance every couple of weeks. And because it's a CBDC, they will be told where to spend their money, how to spend their money. It'll all be controlled, and all they'll do is vote and look at the screen. That's what it's all coming down to. So it's all gonna come to a head here. The States is just a powder keg ready to blow. It's absolutely surreal what's going on with the Democratic Party. And it's because most of them are academics. Most of the academics in the United States, the great percentage of them are Democrats. So they come from academia. And that's the source of all the insanity, right? We have it completely inverted. We believe that academia and language and words and the knowledge that comes from all this is the truth. But obviously it's the delusion, because look at what is occurring with society and these institutions that have been developed through academia. They're all collapsing. Academia itself is collapsing, right? So that's the end game for the Democrats, is to just remain in power, because they're letting in all these immigrants basically with the knowledge that you're going to be a lifetime Democrat now and you're just going to vote Democrat all the time, and we'll just give you all the stuff you need so that you can play video games and watch YouTube all day and just be existing to be a vote for the Democratic Party in order for it to stay in power. This is what's happening at the core, and I've discovered the core of all of it, and it's the thing nothing model. It all derives from that thing nothing model where it's just materialism or it's nothing. I figured it all out. Right. And all the woke nonsense too, right? Because academics have completely fallen for the idea that words mean things, right? So now they instead of realizing that words have no power other than what you give them, they've given the words all of the power. And now if someone says something mean to them, well, that's like getting stabbed or fucking punched right in the face, right? You call something, you a little spider there. You say words to someone that's in this state of delusion, basically an academic, a woke person, and it's the same as pushing them around. Like the words are like gravity or like the wind. Like they have no control over the power that the words have over them. They're weak and so then they try to get people to not say the things that hurt their little feelings. So you can't hurt a woke person's feelings. So therefore, everyone must not say things that hurt people's feelings. What? That's like saying, well, the wind can't blow really hard because it might push me over. It's like, no, you have to adapt and recognize that words have no power, but they're weak. And instead, they try to control everyone else rather than controlling their own mind. And they'll be protesting places to pee in public when the food's running out in the grocery stores. Like, get your priorities straight. No one gives a shit about your sexual orientation when there's no fucking food in the grocery stores. No one will care. Sorry. You'll get shot just as much as the next normal heterosexual MAGA guy over this can of beans. Oh, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper, right? So that's why there's no plan, right? Neither of these people are talking about Trump or Harris. Neither of them are talking about programs or like what they're going to do or, like what's the plan? There's no plan. The plan is to beat the other people. That's what their plan is, right? They don't say it. They don't say, we have this plan is going to help the American people and help make, right, lessen suffering and all that. It's none of it. They don't want to change anything. They just want to beat the other half of the system. That's their plan. She should just say, and Trump should just say, the plan is to beat the other half. That's the plan. And we'll do it. We'll do whatever it takes to win. That's the plan. And we're going to sacrifice everything to win. And it's only their deep state of delusion that makes it impossible for them to recognize what's so obvious. Right on. We got a plan, Rusty. Let's do this thing. Well, that is it for today. Small group today, but important things occurred. All right. Next week, where am I going to be next Sunday? Yeah, probably do this again next Sunday. Okay. Goodbye. End stream.